Akhandamandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupaswarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakhyam Namami Bhaktashaktikam Namah Pankajanabhaya Namah Pankajamaline Namah Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajanghraye Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagadhitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Sarvebhyo Namaha Sarvesham Krite Swagatam. We are now in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad-gita. So in the previous shlokas, we have talked about how ananya bhakti is the supreme among different ways in which we approach Krishna. Shri Bhagavan said at the end of discussing ananya bhakti, he also pointed out that not everybody does ananya bhakti. Not everyone can develop that bhav or that shraddha to do ananya bhakti. So there are many people who also think of him as the Vishwarupa, as the universal form. So in the very last session, we saw this shloka, nya-dharma chapyanye yajanto mamupasate ekatvena prithaktvena bahudha vishwato mukam. Said that there are people who think of him as the entire universe. The entire universe is a pervasion of Sri Bhagavan. Bhagavan is the universal being, the universal consciousness. And that is one very good way to think about him. Sometimes you're not able to accept that he's a person like us. That's fine. At least you can think about him as the entire universal consciousness. And that pervades every aspect of this universe. So even if we think like that, then we are inspired to approach him. And even such people, they eventually get mukti from this universe. So after saying that, what does Sri Bhagavan say? This is the 20th shloka. So we discussed in the last class from the 15th to the 19th shlokas how different elements in the universe, people think of him at those elements. So now finally in the 20th shloka, Sri Bhagavan says, Traividya mam somapaf puta papa yajnairishtva svargatim prarthayante te punyamasadya surendra lokam ashnanti divyan divi deva bhogan. Now in this shloka and in the next one, Sri Bhagavan talks about samanya dharma. Okay, I have earlier distinguished in my classes the difference between samanya dharma and paro dharma. Samanya dharma is that dharma which teaches us how to be happy in this material existence. The majority of the Veda covers samanya dharma. Majority of the Veda tells us how to be happy in material existence by performing dharma, by getting punya and avoiding papa. So these two shlokas in the Gita, in the 9th chapter, he comes to that point again. He has earlier also in the 2nd chapter, for example, Sri Bhagavan has touched upon this. And he has said that this is temporary. This kind of happiness is temporary. So once again, he is coming to that same point. He says that those who study the 3 Vedas, Rig Veda, Yajuh Veda, Sama Veda, and by implicitly includes the Atharva Veda also, says they perform various types of yajna. Ishtva means by pleasing me, mam. Mam somapaha puta papaha. Somapaha refers to soma juice or soma rasa is that which is like a prasada of at the end of performing a big yajna, the leftover is called soma. So they eat that as prasada. And then they become shuddhi, they become purified. The puta papaha means their pap is destroyed and they develop the ability to go to svarga-loka, Svargarthim prarthayante. Te punyam asadya, having got the required punya to go to svarga-loka, surendra lokam. Surendra loka refers to svarga-loka because Indra is also called Surendra. Ashnanti divyan divi deva bhogan. They enjoy or they eat. Ashnanti literally means eats, but Figuratively, it means enjoy. So they enjoy the different pleasures available to the devas in svarga-loka. So जो देवलोक स्वर्गलोक में होते हैं तो उनको बहुत आनंद मिलता है वहां के सुखों के साथ. So that kind of happiness they experience in svarga-loka. But is svarga-loka the ultimate thing? Okay, this question is now answered in the next shloka. It says, Te tam bhuktva svarga-lokam vishalam kshine punya martya-lokam vishanti. So after enjoying this expansive, vishalam means expansive pleasure in svarga-loka, te tam bhuktva, after enjoying or eating all those pleasures in svarga-loka, kshine punya martya-lokam vishanti. Once all their punya is depleted, then they come back to martya-loka. Martya-loka refers to the bhuloka, where we are living now. It's the land of death, right? Where ultimately all life ends in death. So in svarga-loka also there is a death, although we don't call it maranam. The punya ends there and then they disappear from there and reappear here. In an earlier section, in earlier class, when we were doing the 8th chapter, there also the same thing came, and we discussed about Sri Baladeva Vidyabhushana's commentary, in which he explains how there's something called Panchagni Vidya, which explains the cycle of going from Bhuloka to Svarga-loka and coming back to Bhuloka again. So the same point is discussed again here. So Shri Bhagavan says, Evam Trayi Dharma Manuprapannaha Gatagatam Kama-kamaha Labante. So those who follow the Trayi Dharma, by Trayi Dharma he means this materialistic knowledge given in the Veda. The three Vedas. Trayi Dharma means the ones which follows these three Vedas, Rig Veda, Yajuh Veda, Sama Veda, and by extension Atharva Veda also. So who follows the material knowledge, who is aspiring for material pleasure, then they Gata-gatam means back and forth. In English we say back and forth. They're going back and forth between Svarga-loka and Bhuloka. Life after life after life. They come back to Bhuloka, again they get birth in a Brahmana family, a good family, or whatever good family, maybe a Kshatriya family also. And then they again earn punya, again go back to Svarga-loka. So they have forgotten that they had already experienced it. So once again, they go back to Svarga-loka, again experience it, again come back here. Okay? So he's saying, ultimately the point he's trying to make is, what is the use? What is the use of aiming for Svarga-loka? There's no point, right? So in today's society, in India, even in India, we don't believe in Svarga-loka. We don't believe in Shastra at all, right? So there's no Svarga-loka. For us, Svarga-loka, the concept of Svarga-loka we have is going to a country like Japan or Germany or the UK or the US or even Canada, we don't mind, right? So whatever it is. So this is the concept of Svarga-loka today, because we don't have Shastra. There's no Shastra in society. We have modern education and there's no Shastra. Svarga-loka is just an imaginary mythological thing, right? But whatever it is, the mentality is the same, right? So he's pointing out there is no point in aspiring for material pleasure because it doesn't take you anywhere. It brings you back to where you were earlier. Okay. So then after saying this, Sri Bhagavan comes back to what he's trying to establish in the 9th chapter. Ananyas chintayanto mam yajna paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. So those who are doing ananya bhakti, ananyas chintayantaha, those who are always thinking about me, those whose lives are revolving around me, tesham nityabhiyuktanam, those who are always engaged in their efforts to attain me, yogakshemam vahamyaham. So he uses a very important word, yogakshemam. Now, do you know there's a company in India which uses yogakshemam vahamyaham as its tagline for its logo? It's an insurance company, incidentally, because Sri Bhagavan is giving you here an insurance, right? No, it's called the Life Insurance Corporation of India. Go check up. Yeah. So Yogakshemam Vahamyam. So Yogakshemam Vahamyam is a very one of the most cited phrases in the Bhagavad-gita, from the Bhagavad-gita. What is meant by Yogakshemam and what is meant by Vahamyam? We'll come to that. Yogakshemam, the word consists of two words, yoga and kshema, right? So the definition of this word, this phrase Yogakshemam is alabdhalabho yogaha labdhasya rakshanam kshema. What giving you what you don't have is called yoga. Yogaha labdhasya rakshanam kshemaha. So Sri Bhagavan says that vahamyaham, I carry that. I carry that for the bhakta who is doing ananya bhakti to me. I provide them what they don't have to perform my bhakti, and I protect what they already have with them. in the matter of performing my bhakti. Okay, so if a bhakta requires something in the course of maintaining their life of bhakti, because a bhakta is already devoted to Bhagavan and he's living for Bhagavan, everything he does is for Bhagavan only, is for his pleasure only. So Shri Bhagavan ensures that if there is something lacking in that, he will provide, he will make up that gap. They don't have to think, how do I cover that gap? I should do something beyond bhakti to get that thing, and then I will do bhakti. No. He ensures that that thing which is lacking in them, which they need for their protection, their maintenance, etc., is provided, is taken care of. And what they already have, he ensures that that remains with them. And they don't feel insecure. Their insecurities are removed. Nice bhakti. Okay, so this is a very important shloka. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. The English translation, those who, thinking exclusively of me, worship and serve me, and are always engaged in the process to obtain me, I carry the responsibility. Vahami. Vahami does not mean I give. It just means I carry. I take that burden on my shoulders. Okay, I carry the responsibility to provide what they lack and preserve what they have. So the commentaries on this, like for example, Vishwanath Chakravarti points out that here he does not use karomi. In Sanskrit, karomi means I do. Instead of using karomi, he uses vahami. I carry the burden. Okay, that means he's saying this, Shri Bhagavan is saying this with bhav towards his bhakta. Just like bhaktas, when they talk to him or talk about him, they speak with bhav, right? Similarly, when he talks about his bhaktas, he also speaks with bhav. He speaks with that commitment that I belong to them. They belong to me. Okay? So in this connection, there's a very interesting narrative in the Mahabharata. Okay, in the previous sessions, I have told you some narratives from the Bhagavatam. Now, the Mahabharata also is written by the same author, Vedavyasji. And in the Mahabharata also, there are very, very interesting narratives which highlight the role that Krishna plays in the lives of his bhaktas. So this narrative is about the sage Durvasa, famous sage Durvasa, who once visited the Pandavas when they were in their Vanavas. So this is in the Vana Parva of Mahabharata, the third Parva of Mahabharata, in these two chapters, 262 and 263. So I went through these chapters and I pulled out the relevant portions, which will highlight what I want to say in this class. So here, the Pandavas, they are in the Vanavas, and Duryodhana obviously is the factor which sent them there, right? He got them to play that gambling match, and then they lost, and Draupadi was insulted, but then she was given back. And again, they were called back again. Again, they were defeated, and they were told to give up their kingdom, and they were going. So Duryodhana did everything possible to ensure that they will be finished in some way or the other. And Duryodhana is now expecting, now he has successfully managed to send them to the forest, and they're off for at least 13 years. They won't come back. And he's looking forward to hear that they are suffering there. But are they suffering in the forest? This chapter says no, they were not suffering. After all, they were bhaktas all the time. They were actually talking about Krishna. They were discussing, they were doing Harikatha. And they were also, because they are such saintly people, they were very popular among the public. So a lot of, great sages, the Brahmanas, many people went with them. They did not go alone. They were not meant to be in Ajnatavas in the entire period, right? Only the last 1 year. So the first 12 years, a lot of people were staying with them. So they were in the company of other people who said that we don't want you to go alone. We will also come with you. Wherever you are, we will give you, we'll support, and so on. And then on top of that, there's also this thing called Akshaya Patra, right? So there's this incident where Yudhishthira prays to Surya Deva, and he's blessed with a vessel called the Akshaya Patra, a pot. And that pot has got the power that in the hands of Draupadi is given the charge of that pot. And with that, she can feed whomever until she herself has her meals. Okay, suppose she wants to feed her husband, to feed the Brahmanas who are all there. Okay, so by her wish, that Akshaya Patra will generate food. If she just wishes that let there be food, that food will get created. She doesn't have to cook. So that so it became a big treasure for them, that Akshaya Patra, right? So they lived very happily. They had the Akshaya Patra with them, so they had no problem about food. And then they had the Brahmanas, and they also had each other with them. And they were actually living very happily in the Vanavas. They were not suffering. So then who was unhappy because of that? Duryodhana. Because Duryodhana's happiness was dependent on their unhappiness. But they are not being unhappy. So Duryodhana was unhappy as a result of that. Right? So this is the quality of Duryodhana, where he is very, very eager to make the others unhappy and himself happy, but doesn't realize that his own happiness is now subject to others' unhappiness, as a result of which now he is suffering. These people are enjoying, and this fellow is suffering. So what happens? So Duryodhana is now thinking, what do I do? Because I send them there and they're just living a happy life. They could have as well been here in the kingdom. They would be happy, and they are now also still happy. So one day, as he is thinking like this and he's scheming, what can I do? The sage Durvasa appears in the kingdom, and he comes along with all his disciples. He's got a big entourage of disciples. And Duryodhana welcomes him, because that's what a king is supposed to do when a great sage comes. Durvasa is a very great sage. He's a punyatma. He's very powerful. He's very sattvic. He's very powerful, very sattvic, very knowledgeable person. So Duryodhana welcomes him, worships him, hosts him, gives him a place to stay, takes care of him. And Durvasa just continues to stay there for a few days. So he does all the atithi satkar, all the service that is due from a host to a guest in our culture. When atithi comes, you do whatever you can. You ask him, you give him the best that you can. Right? So Duryodhana does all that. And the Mahabharata also, it points out that Duryodhana did all that out of fear, not because he was enjoying it, or not because he thought that there is some greatness in doing like that, but he was afraid that this man may curse me if I don't do it. So out of fear that this guy is a very powerful sage, he can do anything if he's upset. Okay, something like an income tax official comes to your house. If you're running a big company, what would you do, right? You would, out of fear, you would make sure this guy is happy. You don't want him to poke his finger into anything that you are doing, right? So Duryodhana looks at him like that and keeps Durvasa happy. Now Durvasa knows that this is going on, so he tests him. He says, so he makes Duryodhana, he puts him through enormous amount of difficulty, Duryodhana. So for example, he suddenly comes and says, I'm very hungry. You know, my disciples are all very hungry. Prepare something. So immediately Duryodhana gets all his people to prepare a lot. And then he says, okay, no, now we are not interested in eating. So we are going for our puja. So he goes for puja. And then all the food is waste here. So then he does puja and comes back. And then they don't know whether he will come back or not. So they keep the food and he doesn't come back at all. And then again, another day he comes suddenly and says the same thing. And this time he actually eats. So he behaves in a very unpredictable manner with Duryodhana. But Duryodhana is very alert not to offend him. He makes sure he doesn't get angry. He doesn't lose his temper. He remains very patient with Durvasa and says that whatever he wants, I'll do till he leaves from here. Okay, so at the end of it all, Duryodhana goes through some difficult time, but he survives it. And Durvasa is very happy. So Durvasa says that now I'm leaving. I'm very happy with the service you have given me. So please ask me any boon that you want, and I'll be very happy to give you whatever you ask for. So now Duryodhana's chance has come. So what does he ask for? What does Duryodhana ask Durvasa to do? So here in the 262nd chapter of the Vana Parva, Duryodhana is speaking. Duryodhana is telling Durvasa, Asmat kule maharajo jeshta sreshto yudhishthiraha vane aritaha. In my own dynasty, there is a great person called Yudhishthira. He's being sarcastic also. He stays in the forest. He's a dharmatma. And he's staying with all his brothers, his wife and everything. And they are all living together. Gunavan Shila Sampannaha Tasyatvam Atithir Bhava Yadacha Rajaputri Sa Sukumari Yashaswini. And he's a great person of great qualities. He's a Gunavan Shila Sampannaha. He has a great character. Of such a person, please become a guest. Atithir Bhava. Please become a guest of that person. Just like you became my guest, please become his guest. And Yadacha Rajaputri Sa. When their wife, Draupadi Rajaputri, the daughter of a king, Sukumari, she's very young, very juvenile. Sukumari, Yashaswini, very famous. When this lady Bhojayitva dvijan sarvan patimscha varavarnini vishranta cha swayam bhuktva sukhasina bhavedyatha. Now, Duryodhana knows about the Akshaya Patra. So he knows that this Akshaya Patra works in this manner, that Draupadi can wish to create any food from the morning onwards, and the food will get created. She can feed all the Brahmanas, she can feed all her 5 husbands, and she can also eat. And by virtue of the protocol, she being the woman in the house, she would eat last. She would first ensure that all of them are fed, and then she would eat her food. Okay, that's the protocol that is followed in our culture. So she would follow that. But once she eats, then on that day, the Akshaya Patra will no longer create any food. It's only the next day that the Akshaya Patra can be used again. After she has her meal, then no more food can be created from the Akshaya Patra on that day. Okay, that's the way it works. All right. So now Duryodhana is requesting Durvasa. Now this lady, Bhojayitva dvijan sarvan, after she has fed all the Brahmanas, patimscha, her own husbands, varavarnini, this virtuous lady, vishranta, she's very tired, cha swayam bhuktva. Now she's very tired after doing all this work. So she also has her meal. After that, sukhasina bhavedyata, when she is resting happily, sukhasina. She's sitting down and resting. Over. All the work is over for today. Let me rest for some time. At that time, tada tvam tatra gacchetaha yadyanugrahyata mayi. You should go there at that time if you want to bless me. Says yadi anugrahyata maya. If you want to bless me, if you want to give me this boon, then you must go there at that time. In other words, the boon I want from you is that you must go at this time when Draupadi has finished all her work and she's now relaxing. She's just tired and relaxing. Tatha karishyatvat pritya ityeva muktva suyodhanam. After hearing this, Durvasa, because he's already committed, obviously he's not a fool. He's a very intelligent man. He's very sattvic, very learned. So he knows what this guy wants. But he has already committed to him. So he says, Tatha Karishi, I will do as you say. He says, Tvat Pritya, because you have made me happy. So out of here, a name of Duryodhana that is used is Suyodhana. The last word you will see here, Suyodhana. Suyodhana means one who is easy to fight with. Suyodhana. It's called Suyodhana. So Durvasa then does whatever he committed to Duryodhana. Durvasa api viprendro yathagatam agatataha. Just as he had come to Hastinapura, he went back in the same manner. Kritarthamapi chatmanam tadamene suyodhanaha. The moment he left, Duryodhana celebrated, said, so happy now, because this guy not only came, but he is also gone. And before going, he has given me a big boon. I was looking forward to this. No, Suyodhana, because it's easy to it's easy to fight with him. He's not such a difficult guy to fight with. See, Arjuna is called Parantapa, one who tortures his people who fight with him will have a tough time. But he's called Suyodhana, means they will not have a tough time. It doesn't require a great person to fight and defeat him. Easy to fight with him. Duryodhana, called Suyodhana. Karena chakaram grihya karnasya mudito bhrisham. So what did he do? He ran to Karna. Okay, just like in a cricket match, if a wicket falls, then the bowler will run to the captain, wicket-keeper, they'll all hug each other. So he ran to Karna. Karena chakaram griya. He caught hold of Karna's hand and shook his hand. Brisham means again and again. He was so happy. Karnopi vratra sahitam ityuvacha nripam muda. So Karna also was very happy because Karna and Duryodhana very similar thinking. He's very happy. Vratra sahitam ityuvacha. Along with all the brothers of Duryodhana, Karna spoke as follows. What did Karna say? Dishtya kamassu samvrittaha, dishtya kaurava vardhase, dishtya te shatravo magnaha, dustare vyasanarnave. Karna says that, oh, great fortune has come, that your desires are now being fulfilled. Oh, Kaurava, you will now grow. Te shatravo magnaha dustare vyasanarnave. Your enemies now will be put in the greatest of difficulty. What a happy time this is for us. Durvasa krodhaje vatnau patita pandunandanaha. The sons of Pandava, sons of Pandu, they have now fallen into the fire of the anger of Durvasa. Durvasa krodhaje vanhau, in the fire which is born from the anger of Durvasa, they have now fallen there. Swairevate maha papaihi gatavai dustaram tamaha. And don't feel guilty about it, because it's their own papa, that the pap that they have done, these Pandavas have done, that has got them into this problem. Okay, so in the perception of Karna, there's nothing wrong with what Duryodhana is doing. It is the Pandavas who have been acting too smart. They have tried to fool them, etc. But ultimately they got fooled and they were sent to the forest. So don't feel guilty, Duryodhana. It is their own fault and they let them suffer. They need to suffer. So what happened after that? So Durvasa, like he had promised, and on this side, they're all celebrating, and Durvasa fulfills the promise that he has given. And so he, after a few days, he does not immediately go from here to there. He's got other things to do. So after a few days, he goes to the forest and he ensures that he reaches there at a time when exactly Draupadi has finished all her meals and everything. And she's now resting. That today is over. Now we'll look forward to the evening. We look forward to the evening lecture by the Brahmanas. We'll relax, right? So at that time, Durvasa appears there, the spot. And he appears with 10,000 disciples. Not just a few disciples. The Mahabharata says 10,000 disciples, a big group of disciples come. Okay? Because Durvasa wants to ensure that whatever Duryodhana asked for is fully given to him. So he comes there. So as soon as he comes there, what do the Pandavas do? They all see this, and Pandavas and Draupadi and everybody get up and they welcome. They welcome the sage, they welcome the disciples, and then they bow down, they offer their prayers, and then say that, now we will arrange for you. Because they have to say that, right? When your Atithi comes, you arrange for him. So we will arrange your food and everything. So would you like to have your bath? Would you like to do your Sandhya Vandan? Would you like to do your Sandhya Vandan and then come for bath, come for food? So they ask all this, and Durvasa and his disciples, they say, yes, yes, we will go to the river. The river is next. They're camping on the bank of a river. So we'll go to the river, we'll have our bath, we'll do our Sandhya Vandan, and then we will come. So they go. And the Mahabharata points out that when they went, there was absolutely no thought in their mind about how these people, these 5-6 people who are here, how will they even arrange for, a little bit for 10,000 of us? Okay, any guest should think like this, right? Even if the guest is alone, he should think, why should I trouble them? They will obviously do their best to make me happy, but I should not trouble them. Right? So the guest will say, no, don't arrange all that. I've already had my food. Don't bother. I just came for just saying something to you. That's how a guest should speak to his host. Guest should not say, I've come here. Okay, now you arrange everything. No. But these people did not even think slightly in this direction. They just went. They just went to the river and they started performing their puja and whatever they had to do. Now Draupadi is thinking. Okay. So Draupadi is thinking, now what do I do? Since morning, Akshaya Patra was working. And if they had come just a little before, then I would have fed all of them very easily. My Akshaya Patra is available. But now they have come at this time. Now what do I do? So she thinks a little bit. And naturally, she is a bhakta, right? The ananya bhakta, an example of ananya. So what happens? An ananya bhakta's mind is always thinking of Krishna. So naturally, at this time also, her mind goes to Krishna. When there is a problem, you cannot solve it on your own, then immediately you plead to Krishna, please help me to solve this. Please guide me. What should I do now? Okay. Manasa chintayamasa Krishnam kamsa nisudanam Krishna mahabaho Devaki nandanavyaya Vasudeva jagannatha Pranatarthi vinashana Vishwatman Vishwajanaka Vishwahartha Prabho Vyaya. So she's calling out to Krishna in her mind. Different names of Krishna are given here. In her mind, she's calling out Krishna, Devaki Nandana, Vasudeva, Jagannatha, Pranatarthi Vinashana. So these different names of Krishna, there are 9 shlokas here. I'll read them all out. And they're all different names of Krishna which tell about how he protects his bhaktas, how he's spread over the entire universe, the whole consciousness. Krishna is the universal being. He's the universal consciousness, right? Everything belongs to him. There's no place. He's not just an ordinary human being like us. He is instead the all-pervasive consciousness. When we connect with him, We are connecting not with just another human being. We are connecting with something much beyond that. So she's calling out to him, Prapannapala Gopala Prajapala Paratpara Akutinam Chittinam Pravartaka Natasmite Varanye Varadananta Agatinam Gatirbhava Purana Purusha Pranam Purusha Prana Manovrityadyagochara Sarvadhyaksha Paradhyaksha Twamaham Sharanam Gata. I have taken shelter of you. Twamaham Sharanam Gata. Pahimam Kripaya Deva. Please protect me. Oh Krishna, please protect me. Pahimam. She is in extreme anxiety. Just think, 10,000 people have come, and a powerful sage who is also known for his short temper and for liberally cursing others. So such a person has come. Even if he is not a short-tempered sage, even if he is a very sattvic sage who doesn't curse anybody, even then, it is my responsibility to feed them. This is an absolute. There's no option. There's no option like saying that, discussing with him, explaining. There's nothing called explaining. There's nothing called explaining. If the guest comes, then you have to ensure that the guest is made happy, right? So Pahimam Kripaya Deva Sharanagata Vatsala. Please protect me, O Krishna. I am under your refuge now. Please protect me. Nilotpaladala Shyama. Nilotpaladala Shyama Padmagarbha Runekshana Pitambara Paradhina Lasat Kaustubha Bhushana Tvamadiranto Bhutanam Tvamevacha Parayanam Parat Parataram Jyotihi Vishwatma Sarvato Mukhaha Tvamevahuhu Param Bijam Nidhanam Sarva Sampadam Tvaya Nathena Devesha Sarvapadbhyo Bhayam Nahi. So she's calling out and talking about his qualities, and she's just leaving her mind to him. She has given up. Okay, her situation is very similar to the previous situation in which Dushasana. Okay, the last time that she did this was when Dushasana was trying to insult her very badly, right? Dushasana was treating her like nobody should be treated. And she was completely helpless. Nobody came to her rescue. Even her husbands could not come to her. They would have wanted to, but they could not. They could not come to her rescue. They were also tied. And so she was pleading to him. And exactly in the similar situation now, she's again pleading to him. And finally, she acknowledges, she says, Dushasanadaham Purvam, Dushasanadaham Purvam, Sabhayam Mochita Yatha. Just like in the previous instance, you liberated me from the hands of Dushasana. Tathaiva sankatat asmat, Tathaiva sankatat asmat, Mamuddhartum iharhasi. In the same manner, O Krishna, please liberate me from this misery that I am experiencing now. Okay, she prays like this, and her prayer stops here. So what happens after this? So Vyasadevji describes in the Mahabharata, in the subsequent shlokas, I have not put all the shlokas, that Krishna, just like in the previous instance, was resting in his palace, and again with Rukmini. You see, we saw this in the story of Sudama also. He's resting and he's relaxing with Rukmini, Mother Rukmini, in his presence. And he, at that point of time, he just gets up and comes up. So exactly in that manner, the moment he hears Draupadi calling in this way, he gets up, he leaves Rukmini there, he just comes out. And the next instant, he appears in front of Draupadi. He just comes walking in front of Draupadi. And as soon as he comes, Draupadi, she has been calling out for him, and she's extremely happy. And her husbands also are with her. So they all bow down to Krishna. They offer their prayer to him. And but it is said, Vyasadevji describes that he did not wait for her to offer prayers. He came there and he said, Draupadi, stop talking. I am extremely hungry. I'm extremely hungry. Please feed me something. I've come here. I heard you calling me. I've come here. But the first thing I want to do is to eat something. Please feed me, and then we will think of other things. So we have Tatastam Abravit Krishnaha Shuditosmi Bhrishaturaha Shighram Bhojaya Mam Krishne Paschat Sarvam Karishyasi. So Krishna told her, look, Krishne, he's calling her Krishne because another name for Draupadi is Krishna. Krishna is the person whom we are worshipping. Krishna, like Rama, Sita. Krishna is the name of Draupadi. She was dark in complexion, so she was called Krishna. So he's addressing her as Krishna. Krishne, Shighram Bhojaya Mam, please feed me immediately. Paschat Sarvam Karishyasi, do everything else later. Even offering these prayers to me is not important, but first I want food. Nishamya Tadvachaha Krishna, Lajjita Vakyam Abravit. So now Draupadi has two problems on her hand. First problem, Durvasa and his disciples have to be fed. And for solving that problem, she called Krishna. Now he has given her a new problem. First feed me, and then we will talk about what problem you have. But that is the problem. I'm not able to feed anyone. So Nishamya Tadvachaha Krishna, Lajjita Vakyam Abrabit. So Krishna lowered her head and she was feeling extremely embarrassed. Lajjita means extremely embarrassed. And she spoke and she said, Sthalyam Bhaskara Dattayam Annam Madbhojanavadi. You see, Krishna, I am dependent on this tool known as Akshaya Patra. But that has a property that it will work only till I eat. And now, Bhuktavatyasmyaham deva, Bhuktavatyasmyam asmyaham deva, Bhuktavati asmi aham deva. He was not disturbed by that. He said, look, Krishna, Krishne nanarma kaloyam, shutshramena turemai. Look, Draupadi, Krishna, look, this is not a time for making jokes. Krishna na narma kaloyam. Narma kalaha means, narmam means playfulness, like we say, maja karenge, like that, relaxing, like you're going to do now in the evening after this class, right? So, having fun. So, look, Draupadi, this is not the time for making jokes or having fun. Shut shramena atureme. See, I've come all the way. I'm very tired. I'm very hungry. Shigram gacha mama sthalim ani atvam pradarshaya. Quickly go and bring that vessel, whatever vessel you're talking about, bring it here and show it to me. Tvam pradarshaya. Iti nirbandhata sthalim ananya sa yadudvaha. So Draupadi now doesn't know what to do. He's ordering, he has come. He's saying, oh, go bring it. Okay, so let me go bring it. So she goes and she brings that vessel and gives it to him. Sa yadudvaha stalyaha kanteta sam. He sees that. Shakannam viksha Keshava. Keshava, Krishna, he saw that there was a small piece of vegetable stuck on the neck of that pot. Upayujya abravit enam anena haririshvaraha vishwatma priyatam devaha tushtaschastviti yajnabhuk. So immediately, because he's so hungry, so he just picked up that piece of vegetable and put it in his mouth, Upayujya. Then he spoke to Draupadi. He said, Haririshwaraha Vishwatma Priyatam Devaha Tushtaschastu iti yajnabhuk. So after putting that vegetable in his mouth, he said, let Hari, that supreme being Hari, he's referring to himself in third person, let that Hari Vishwatma, that universal consciousness, that universal being Vishwatma, let him be happy, Priyatam Devaha Tushtastastu, let him be fully satisfied with this small piece of vegetable that I've eaten. Krishna said this. Yajnabhuk means one who gets the offerings made in the yajna. All the offerings in the yajna are offered to Vishnu. So it's called Yajnabhuk. So let that Yajnabhuk be now happy with this offering I'm making to him. Okay, so saying that, this Krishna who is in front of Draupadi, he put that vegetable in his mouth. So then what happens? So subsequent to this, what happens is, Krishna says, okay, I've had this is all you can give me. All right. So he now knows that, now Draupadi tells him the situation. She knows, she explains to him. So he calls Sahadeva, among the 5 Pandavas, Sahadeva, all of them are there. So he addresses Sahadeva. And he tells Sahadeva that, look, these people have gone some time back for their bath and everything. Now please go to the river and call them. They must have finished their puja now. Please go there and call them and come for their lunch here. Okay. So Draupadi is watching all this. She's not able to make sense of what is going on. So Krishna calls Sahadeva and says, go bring them and come. So Sahadeva offers this thing and he goes to the river and he just has to call them and come. Now in the meantime, the Mahabharata changes the scene. Now what happened in the river there? They're all there waiting, and they're taking their bath and they're all chanting their mantras. all of a sudden, the people, the 10,000 disciples who are taking baths in the river, they suddenly felt that their stomachs are full. Not only are the stomachs full, but they started burping. They started getting the burp that you get when you have eaten a lot. The burp after burp is coming, and they felt that they've not just had their lunch, but they've had up till their necks. As they can't put one more morsel. Even one more morsel can't be put into the mouth. That much they have eaten. They suddenly started feeling like that inside. So until this point of time, they have been thinking that a nice healthy lunch is waiting for us. Let's have our bath, finish our puja, and we'll go back and have a nice lunch in this forest. But now, in just one instant, they're feeling that up to their neck, they're already filled with food, and there's no space even to have one more grain of rice. Right? So each disciple is feeling this, and they're all looking at each other. They're all wondering, am I the only person who is feeling like this, or is anybody else also feeling? They look at each other, and then they discover that everybody is feeling like this, all the 10,000 of them. So now they understood that something has happened. Why we're feeling like this, we don't know. So they go to their guru. They come out of the river immediately. And their prayers are broken by this, and they come out of the river. And they go to their guru, Durvasa, who is on the bank. And they go and bow down to him, and then they say that we have a small issue. Well, we actually suddenly started feeling that our tummies are full and we can't eat anymore. We are filled to our neck. We can't eat anymore. So we don't know why we are feeling like this, but we suddenly feel in this way. So we are worried that if we now go back to where the Pandavas are staying, then we will insult them. And if we insult them, because they would have cooked the food and kept it ready for us, and we don't take, because we told them to cook for 10,000 people, they would have kept everything ready. And if we don't take, then we will get the pap for that. We will get the pap for that. So then Durvasa replies to them. This is all in the Mahabharata, the shlokas. I haven't put all the shlokas here, but he replies to them. He says, oh, is that so? In that case, I would suggest just vanish from here. Just run away. Just palayana. I mean, he says, just run away. He just doesn't say, let's go away. He just says, run away from here. Because they will come now searching for you. And if they find you, they will obviously invite you to come there. And then you have to go. Because you have told them that you're coming back. So just vanish from here. Because it says, the shloka says that Durvasa at that point of time remembered the experience he had had with Ambarisha. You recollect the narrative I told you a few sessions back, where Durvasa goes to the place where Ambarisha has just broken his fast, or just waiting to break his fast, Ekadashi fast. And at that point of time, Durvasa actually sort of tries to mess around with Ambarisha and gets himself messed up, right? So I don't know if you recollect. Yeah, very briefly to tell you. So Ambarisha, he again goes to the river, and Ambarisha breaks his fast because of some conditions. He has to fulfill some conditions. And Durvasa then tries to kill him by creating a creature, but it backfires on him. So I'll tell you the entire narrative again after some sessions. I remember saying this just a few sessions back, but again, I will narrate it after a few sessions. But that bad experience he had with Ambarisha, where he almost lost his life, and he was ultimately made to bow down to Ambarisha. He recollects that, and he tells his disciples, look, we should never mess around with the bhaktas of Krishna. The bhaktas, these people are bhaktas of Hari, and we should not mess with them. Anything else is fine. I'm willing to curse anyone, but not these people. So please go away from here, run away from. So the disciples just follow what their gurus say, and they vanish from there. And it is said, the Mahabharata said, they ran in all the 10 directions. They just all didn't go together. They ran 10,000 of them. Right? If they go in one direction, it'll get jammed. So they ran in all the 10 directions, and there was nobody there. And Durvasa also vanished from there. So now Sahadeva comes there. And what does he find? Sahadeva finds no one there. Right? So they were supposed to be here. He has seen the footsteps going there, and he's there, but nobody is there. So he's puzzled. He searches everywhere, and finally he looks at some brahmanas who are there taking bath. He asks them, weren't there Durvasa and all these people? He says, yeah, they were here some time back, but now they have left. They've all gone in different directions. So he doesn't understand what happened. He has no idea what went on. So he just comes back. He comes back to Krishna. He comes back to the Pandavas and Krishna. And then he narrates what happened. So in that narration, it's explained how he's very puzzled. Sahadeva is totally puzzled and he has no answer because he's supposed to bring them back and now he's coming back empty-handed. So he doesn't know what to explain to them. He just says, I couldn't find them. I searched everywhere, but they were not there. And then Krishna reveals to them, says that, look, when I heard Draupadi's prayers, I could not restrain myself. And I knew that I have to do something for you. You know, I am for you. I'm living for you. My existence is for you. And I just came, and this is what I did. I did this entire thing. So then they realize, and Krishna actually praises them. He says that you people are dharmatmas. You know what is dharma, and you follow dharma. So, you know, he basically, essentially, whatever he says in the Gita, yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutanam adharmasya tadatmanam shajamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. So you see that happening in this tale as well, right? Durvasa and Duryodhana jointly have collaborated. So collaboration. They collaborated and come to trouble to finger around with the Pandavas. But paritranaya sadhunam. I am there to protect the bhaktas. Vinashaya cha dushkritam. Sambhavami yuge yuge. Every yuga I come. And not only in every yuga, whenever my bhakta calls me, I come. Like in this case. Draupadi called out to him. Immediately he appears. So this is a beautiful example of Sharanagati and how the life of a bhakta. Of course, we should not conclude from this that only when we have extreme misery do we turn to Krishna. Ananya bhakti, or the path of bhakti, bhakti yoga. Yoga through bhakti is a process in which Krishna dominates our consciousness. Krishna is present in our life continuously. It's not only when we have an extreme situation of difficulty, but when we don't have difficulty as well. Okay, we recognize that Krishna is ours. He is one among us. And we are with him. We are with him all the time. And we live our life in a manner that he is happy. He is pleased. And living that life is a holistic life because it's not about pleasing just one narrow person. Krishna is not just one human being. It's not like one human being. Not pleasing one human being. It's not like some kind of psychophancy where you have one guy who's calling all the shots, who just dictates everything and everybody obeys what he says. It's not like that. Krishna is Vishwatma. It's given here, Vishwatma. Vishwatma means he is the universal Atma. He belongs to every living being, is a part of him. He is present in everything. So when we please him, when we live our life in a way that is pleasing to him, automatically everything else is covered. All other obligations are fulfilled and everyone will be satisfied. Okay, that is the point being made. And the Pandavas and Draupadi are an example. Of course, Kunti also. Kunti is not in this story, but she's also of this mentality. She's also an example of Ananya Bhakta. And they're all together showing us, demonstrating us the benefit or the beauty of Ananya Bhakti. I'll be happy to hear your questions, comments, etc. Those online also. I hope you could hear my audio clearly. We are in a different room today.
Yes, sir.
It was all clear, sir.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so we have Swati here with a question. Yeah, Swati.
Or there is two people from India, bias, not subsidy.
Yeah. So this is a very common question, and it's an important question to ask actually, because it clears up some doubts in our mind. It's just like, if there is a country in which there is a very just king, there's a king who is very just, who is very fair to all his, citizens, who's very kind-hearted, very loving person. In such a kingdom, will there be a prison or no prison? So It's like saying that if the king is there, then there should be no prison house. Nobody should be in the prison house. Nobody should suffer. Nobody should be punished. But that's not true, because even in the best of kingdom, even when Ramarajya is going on, there might have been, I don't know, or when Yudhishthira was ruling, this kingdom for that period of time, there were people who were punished for something or the other, right? So why does punishment happen? So we have to understand that we are looking at existence or reality from a very narrow lens. And that is why it appears that, God seems to be very biased. He's partial to somebody and gives them a lot of favors, whereas he's indifferent towards somebody else and allows them to suffer. But that's not true. The Shastra explains, Mahabharata explains that whatever we experience, our happinesses, distresses, our tendencies, are not just a result of what we did in this lifetime. They are an accumulated result of what we have done since all of our existence. We have existed eternally. We didn't come into existence when we took birth from our mother in this lifetime. We have existed eternally. There's no starting point. We have taken so many births, and in all those births, we have committed different types of activities. So those activities give us happinesses, miseries, etc. And we experience. Because we see only a narrow portion, it appears like, why is God unkind to them? Why is he kind to somebody else? But no, if you see the larger picture, then he is neutral. Sri Bhagavan is very neutral. I don't know if this answers your question. If you have a second question, yeah.
And she would say, that's why I'm not living. Then probably I have to wait for that to probably believe. Then probably
Yeah. Yeah, that's why we say Shastriya Shraddha. In Bhagavad-gita also, Sri Bhagavan says, Tasmat Shastram Pramanam te karya karya vyavasthitau. Yatva Shastra Vidhanoktam Karma Kartum Yaharnasi. The Shastra is our basis. We should look at this world through the lens of the Shastra. When we say Shastra, we refer to the specific books, the Veda as the base. What we mean by Shastra is that the Veda is the base, and the books which explain the Veda, the Ramayana, Mahabharata, the Puranas. Included in the Mahabharata is the Bhagavad-gita, which we're talking about, right? So this is the basic Shastra we're referring to, and all other books which are based on these books, which draw from these books. So this is the Chakshu, this is Shastra Chakshu, means when we understand the Shastra. So these doubts come to us because our education system, since we are brought up, has never exposed us to this in a systematic manner. The best exposure we have got to the Shastra is some grandfather or grandmother or mother or father telling us some stories when we went to sleep in the night time, or we watched some serial called Ramayana, or we watched that Adi Purush movie which came out just now, right? Or we hear something here and there. That's the best exposure we have. If we study Shastra systematically, okay, this is something that I'm trying to now promote among my students and whomever I meet, that go to the shlokas, go to the original text, understand the philosophy in its essence, and then make your conclusions based on that. So that gives you the full picture, the larger picture.
about these ways being put at the same times. Shudras, and then there is that Shudra probably those people that bad karma accumulate. And that sort of opens a lot of dissonance with me. Then again, I'm so for 10 minutes where we have taken so much of there has been students fighting properly, right? But quality one of them there has to be more something else.
See, yeah, very good question, actually. Let me explain what she's asking to the people online who could not hear what she was asking. She's talking about how it appears as if our Shastra and our tradition has placed women at a very low level by equating women with low class like Shudras and other lower classes, which also the Shastra talks about, and are said to have, women are said to be people with a lot of pap in them, and that's why they are born as women, etc. And they have been treated lowly. And so it's not, it doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound right, or it seems, my mind doesn't take it. Naturally, it doesn't accept this. This is a very good question, actually, and it's very relevant in today's context as well. First of all, let me tell you that if you read the Shastra holistically, you'll see that women are not treated like that. Even Draupadi, she's going through a lot of difficulty, but she's treated with a lot of respect. She is not treated like a low-class person. It's a division of roles. A woman is given a very, very prominent position in society because she's a mother. A woman is treated as a mother. Okay, in our culture, for example, a woman is addressed, an unknown woman, a strange woman, if I meet, if I don't know her, I'll call her either Bahenji or Mataji, right? Some respectable term. I'll not just call her like I address somebody whom I don't like, right? I respect her. And even if she's not respectful to me, I will still be respectful. I'll talk to her as Mataji. And it's understood that a woman has huge responsibility because a man cannot bear a child on his own. If a population has to grow and you have to develop a cultured population, the woman's role is probably bigger than the man's role. The man only goes out and brings, the earning and the protection for the house, but the woman has to play the role of building the home, and the entire culture revolves around the woman. So if you read the Shastra holistically, then you'll see that the woman actually is given enormous amount of status and respect. Yes, in some places it is pointed out that a woman's body is a body that is, a result of some papa karma. That is why a woman has to go through certain types of suffering which a man doesn't go through. Like, for example, the monthly cycle, right? And certain types of emotional upheavals which men normally don't have, right? Men are supposed to be or expected to be emotionally stronger. Women typically are observed to be more emotionally fragile, right? It's not that they are disrespected when this is described. It is just that the reality is described in this manner. So certain types of pap, yes, this present in the body of a woman. That's why this body is relatively physically weaker. But it is not to be misunderstood as disrespect. It is not disrespect. It is just, it's also telling a man that you should be more sensitive towards a woman. And the pap for disrespecting a woman is enormous. If a man disrespects a woman of any kind, in the Mahabharata also we see that, when Shikandi is coming there as a woman, then Bhishma cannot shoot at her, right? Do we follow that? See, we talk about feminism today, but how many people follow this rule? Do they respect women? These people who talk about feminism, they don't. There's no respect for women today. Women sometimes is seen like a prostitute. They talk about women loosely, right? They talk about a woman's physical appearance. The language people use today, the same people who talk about feminism, they don't talk about women with the respect that our Shastra speaks about women, isn't it? So we shouldn't speak about women in that manner. So we should read Shastra in the correct manner. It's not anti-feminism, or it's not anti-women in any manner. It treats women with all due respect. And it's a society where everybody has to treat everybody else with due respect, due sensitivity, and everybody has their roles. A woman has her role, a man has his role. And if they don't perform their respective roles, both of them will experience pap. Nobody is exempt from it. So we should understand it in a holistic manner. I don't know if my response is giving you some value. Think about it. Yeah. Yeah, good.
The reason why Draupadi ate last to Pandavas and everybody is because she's a leader. A leader will truly be satisfied after all the people in the family of that. So that's the reason why. Yes.
So I do see it not come from position of leaders, it does come from
It's actually a position of strength. The woman is given that responsibility. Just like they say, the captain is the last person to leave the ship. Not because he is the lowest person in the ship, he is the highest person in the ship. If a ship is drowning, or even if it's not drowning, if a ship is coming to its harbor, the rule is that when people leave the ship, the captain leaves it last. So when I was going on some flight, there was in India, a small plane, I think a ATR, in which there's only one entrance and exit. So the pilot also enters through the same that everybody else enters. So I was the last passenger to get off because everybody was walking. I couldn't come to the aisle, and I couldn't take out my luggage. So when everybody had gone, I also got up and I pulled out my luggage. And I saw another man coming. He was the pilot. He was an American. There was an American piloting the plane. So he told me, please go. Then I said, no, sir, you please go. I still have to pull out my bag. He says, no, I'll wait for you. So he waited for me until I pulled out the bag. I went out and then he came out. So he followed that protocol that the captain or the pilot comes out last. So he's the topmost person in that vehicle, right? He's the one who's heading the whole vehicle. So if a woman is eating last, so she's the one in charge of the house. She's the one who's prepared the meal. She's the one who's dictating the terms and conditions of the house, right? She's the grihini. Grihini means the person who is in charge of the house. So she dictates. So she eats last. She's the captain. So it should be seen in that manner. Not that why do you make the woman eat last? See, I saw this pseudo-feminism once. I was sitting in a philosophy class, and this is a typical leftist thinking. So there was a woman who came and she was speaking. She was this kind of thing, and she was saying that why a woman has to go out, sit in the house. Women can go out to work, and men can take care of the children. Why the woman has to take care of the baby, and why the man has to go out, and the man does whatever he wants, and the woman is shouting in the class. She was speaking on the stage. So I just politely raised my hand and I said, look, madam, the simple reason is that a woman, she gives birth to a child, she bears the child for 9 months, and the bond that she has with the baby is totally different from the bond that a man has with the baby. The man also loves his child, but not in the same way that the woman loves her child. In every species, you see, not only in human beings, you see in a tiger also, the way the tigress takes care of her cubs. You see in a dog, the female dog, the way she takes care of her puppies, a cat. You see so many other animals also. Not only that, they don't have any feminism and masculinism, nothing like that. It's natural. A woman naturally feels for her baby in a way that a man cannot feel. Even if a man tries to, he cannot feel like that. If a man is made to sit in the house and take care of his baby, he can. But it'll be more like a nurse, an employed nurse taking care in some sense. A man also loves his child, no doubt. He can change the diapers and so on. But the love that he feels, I know because I have a child. So when my son grew up, I could see this difference between the way my wife was looking at my son and I was looking at him. Although both of us love him, but I can't match her. I simply cannot do it. Right? It's natural. So when I pointed this out, I didn't say all this, but I just pointed out this is natural for a woman to love her child much more. One lady sitting in the front, just before me, she raised her hand and said, no, I don't love my child. She said like this, I don't think like that. I don't love my child the way you are saying. Then what can I say? I mean, this is, so this kind of thinking has pushed people away from their natural selves. What can you say? This is where people, are adamant to adopt something which suits their gratification. Yeah. Yeah. And this lady, she's my friend actually. This lady who who raised her hand and said, I don't love my baby. I've interacted with her after that also. And she's married. She has a husband, but she was staying separately from her husband. And they're still married, but she was working somewhere, she was working somewhere, and she was working with some other guy. And they were collaborating on different projects. She had a life of her own completely. She was not having a family life for whatever her choice. I mean, I'm not bothered about that. But naturally, she had no understanding of what it is for a woman to feel towards her baby, right? Any woman who has brought up a child will be able to tell this. I'm sorry, Prapti, you are raising your hand. Yeah. Yeah.
Remember the chance he chose so think that I should get this for Rama. He is totally dependent on what he will get. So he is happy with
Exactly.
the problems it started then at a certain point. They were problems, so they were not getting enough to fulfill their stomach. So they moved out of the and it is similar things are happening. Maybe as you describing the role of different things by the time of practice, things they got in system and it became a border moving in last maybe thousand or thousand years, and which is why the discussions with Bhagavad is it was never like that at that time when it was treated and somebody. I mean, women who were well, picking up and was given full due respect as a great, but this become very lower task in some years time, and then there is concept to uplift women and all of them.
Exactly. So there is a kshaya, dharma kshaya over time, Kali Yuga. That is the meaning of Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga means dharma slowly loses its character and the values are forgotten. And instead of understanding the Shastra properly, today our education system is gone somewhere else, right? So because of this, all that you said is correct. That's what has happened over time, degradation of dharma. And I agree with you. I agree with the points that you made. Yeah. Now, before I take the next question, let me just say that my battery is running low. I don't have a power today. So in case this, for those who are online, in case the call suddenly terminates, please bear with me. My battery is running low. It should be available for a few more minutes, I think. Yeah. Apeksha, what is your question? You can try. Yeah. If you can get power, then we can use it. Yeah. Yes, Apeksha. Yes. Yeah. My understanding of the soma rasa is something that's left over after a yajna is done. Yajna is a fire sacrifice where we offer different items into the fire and we chant different mantras towards the different devas. And we aspire for getting punya by doing that. So at the end of a fire sacrifice, some offering is left. What is offered to the deity is left over. That item, one of those items is called soma rasa. And that is taken as prasad. That's soma rasa. So I'm not knowledgeable in that. I'm not able to answer that question, exactly what it is. And so this is what I've heard. And this is my knowledge currently. But I can find out more and inform you. Yeah, the last question was about what is the soma rasa, ingredients of soma rasa. So all that I know is that it's the remnant or the prasada at the end of a yajna. I don't know exactly what ingredients make up the soma rasa. As of now, I don't know, but I can find out in the course of time. Do you have any questions, Swapnil? Yeah. Yes, I know. I know. Yeah.
The moon was on the moon and in which it is a revitalizing agent.
The word soma means moon. Yeah. Hmm.
When the bodies come back from the work, their immunity, the regeneration power, the healing power increases tremendously.
It helps them to rejuvenate. Yeah. So Swapnil, Swapnil is sharing something he read in a fictitious work where the author has explained that Somarasa is something that's developed out of the influence of the moon. When moonlight falls on the food, it becomes Somarasa or something like that, right? And when warriors come back from the battle and they are tired and they drink that, they feel rejuvenated. So I don't know if this is also explained in the Shastra in this manner. I can check and see if it is like that. Yeah. So today I must thank Swapnil for helping us arrange this room. Swapnil got in touch with the people who are in charge of room allocation, and he managed to mobilize everything in a very short time. We realized that having class in the other building was very difficult because of the music that's going on there. And now there's a music show also going to start. So thank you very much, Swapnil. Great.
Hari Om.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
wanted to, I think one of the participants there told that the woman's body is of Papa. So
Yes.
just wanted to know whether it is hearsay or she read it somewhere.
No, it is there in the Shastra in some places that certain types of papa are involved in a woman's body because, I mean, it's not just hearsay. I don't have a shloka to immediately quote, but I've heard this many times. So from people who read the Shastra. So it's because of, the reason that because of this papa, we see certain types of suffering in the woman's body, which is not there in the man's body. Of course, the man's body also suffers according to his karma. So
Yeah, because from what I have so far understood, in terms of papa and punya, it's not like the woman's body has more papa and therefore she gets the woman's body. It's nowhere like that.
But certain types of papa, not more in terms of volume, certain kind of papa which entitles that jivatma to experience certain types of things, have certain experiences in the body of a woman.
Okay.
Please share what you've read. Yeah, please share what you've read.
Yeah, explicitly the menstrual the cycle that a woman follows is the papa which is explicitly mentioned in all the Puranas. I mean, all I don't know, but it's there in the Bhagavata Purana, Ramayana, Mahabharata also, where the woman has voluntarily taken on the papa of Indra on themselves. So that is clearly mentioned, and therefore the Indra also blesses the women in certain ways. But otherwise, so far I have not read that the woman's she has more papa or a certain type of papa. It's not mentioned separately. And the other point I wanted to also share here, because the topic has come up, is nowhere the woman is considered low in the Shastras. If you read the Valmiki Ramayana or the Mahabharata, why we have got it in our psyche is the Draupadi Vastrahaparan is highlighted so much in the serials, in the stories, and so many novels have come up based on that particular episode, that we feel that Mahabharata is about Draupadi Vastrahaparana only, and Ramayana is about Sita's Aparana. So, but actually, if we go through, there is that is a very, very small, tiny portion of the Shastras, and in the Manusmriti and in the Ramayana also it is mentioned in many places that a woman need not do all that rigorous spiritual sadhana that a man is supposed to do, because her sadhana is only seva. She has to just do the seva to her family. So with that only she will accrue punya. So it's made so simple for a woman. So the Shastras are so kind and so favorable for women to follow. So it's unlike a Brahmana. I mean, if you take the Brahmana, he has to follow very, very, very strict rules. Like he has to fast. He should do the all the rituals very systematically, right from Brahma Muhurtam. So it's very, very strict for him. But for a woman, it's not like that. She has to do only seva to her family members, her husband, her children. So whatever the husband does, she gets without even chanting any mantra. If the husband is doing his sadhana, she gets half of the merit of the husband.
Yes.
So it's so kind. Shastras are very, very kind towards women. We don't know because we have never read.
Yeah.
And what we have been told is only the Vasraparana and the kidnapping portion of Sita. That's all.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to highlight that part here.
Yeah. Agreed. I've also heard. Did you hear her points? Yeah. It's true. So actually, the point is not only that women do seva, women have to do seva to their family, but everybody else in the family also does seva to someone else. Like, for example, the husband will be doing seva to his parents, to Guru. The whole society is constructed on the concept of seva. Seva bhav is, there's nobody who is enjoying. There's no enjoyer. The enjoyer is Bhagavan. That's what we think, at least. We say Bhagavan ko seva karte hain. But he also thinks I am doing seva. Everybody is thinking of seva, right? So it's not only why should the woman do seva to the family. The question it should not come, because the whole society is constructed on the principle of seva. And everybody is doing seva to somebody else. That's how it's constructed. Yes, because seva is what sustains. Seva is the essence of dharma. Dharma builds on the concept of seva. Yeah.
Can you please explain the meaning of this number?
That phrase, Tanno Vishnu Prachodayat, means let Vishnu inspire us. Vishnu, Naha means Asman. Asman means us in predicate. Naha. That word Naha is the equivalent of Asman. Asman is replaced by Tat. Tat plus Naha. Tat Naha becomes Tannaha. In Sandhi, it becomes Tanno. Tannaha becomes Tanno in Sandhi. It's Okara. Visarga is replaced by Okara. Vishnu. Vishnu is in subjective, is the subject of the sentence. Vishnu tat naha prachodayat. Let him inspire us. Prachodayat means may he inspire us, may he motivate us, may he enthuse us. May Vishnu inspire us. Yeah. So may that deity inspire us or energize us. We can say inspire or energize us. Inspiration is a form of energization. When you get inspired, you feel a lot of energy suddenly. That's what it means. So at the end of the Gayatri, this thing comes. Right? It ends in this manner. Ya Devi, so say the full mantra. Ya Devi Sarva Bhutesh. Sanstitha, Shanti Rupena Sanstitha, Namastasyai, 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 Namo Namah. So in that Tanno Prachodaya doesn't come. Yeah. So we shouldn't chant that now. But yes, many of the Gayatri mantras end in this manner. There are many Gayatris. Yeah, Brahma Gayatri is what is the basic one. There are many other forms of Gayatri which come. Yeah, sure.
Now that I'm somewhere thinking,
No problem. You can think, in the meantime, if any other question is there, we can take that. You can ask me later also. You don't have to ask me now. Yeah, that's how it's normally done. And it should not be chanted publicly. It should not be loosely said outside. That applies to any mantra. Should not be in particular Gayatri, but it applies to other mantras also. Gayatri has more rules associated with it. It's only chanted by people to whom it's given in Diksha. Even in Diksha, it is chanted. It's not meant to be made into a song and played on loudspeakers and things like that. It's given by the Guru during Diksha, and then the disciple chants in the way in which the Guru has taught the mantra. Yeah. Yeah. The Guru gives the Gayatri according to the Shastra, according to the Paddhati is followed. There are different sampradayas, different Gayatri mantras are there according to the sampradaya. So accordingly, that's given by the Guru, and then it should be chanted. Yeah. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it could be that way also. Depending on the paddhati that's being followed, it could be that way also. Yeah. Yeah. Because ultimately, the Guru's intention is to elevate the disciple from what he is now to a higher level of consciousness. So according to that, he gives the mantras that are suitable for that disciple. Yeah. I don't know. I've not heard about it before. I've never heard this before. I've never heard it, nor have I read about it. Maybe you have heard about it somewhere, something like this. The only reason I know for bursting crackers is primarily that Rama, he returned back to Ayodhya on that day. That was one reason. Then I think Krishna killed Narakasura on that day. So that's another reason. And was it also that Mother Durga? No, that is in Navaratri. That's different. That's Vijayadashmi, right? So this Vijayadashmi is the day on which Rama killed Ravana. And Diwali is the day on which he reaches back to Ayodhya. So Diwali comes just after Vijayadashmi. Yeah. So this is the only reason I know for lighting the lamps and bursting crackers. I didn't know this was a possible. I never heard this reason before. Yeah. We have to see if there is a shastric basis for it. I'll give this assignment to Jayashree when I go back. Let's see if she can dig it out somewhere, if it is there. Because she reads a lot of different, the scripture. She's now reading Padma Puran. Earlier she was reading, I think, Mahabharata. Yeah. That is exactly why in the Kali Yuga, you see the Shastric processes, the different types of activities of dharma given in the Shastra are very elaborate. And today it's very difficult to follow most of them. So we should follow whatever we can. If we can follow something like if Godan is given in some Shastra and it is said to be a very good activity, then if you can do it, then please do it. So any activity of dharma that is possible for you, then please do it as per the Shastra. But if nothing is possible, or even if something is possible, the best dharma in the Kali Yuga is chanting the names of Bhagavan, Harinam Sankirtanam. That is the dharma for the Kali Yuga. In the Kali Yuga, we have so many challenges. The karma of all of us, no difference between men and women in the Kali Yuga. Everybody is in the same platform. Everybody is born with bad karma. That's why we are born here like this. So we're all suffering in some way or the other. And so Harinam Kirtan is the best remedy for that. It's called Bhavaushadhi, means it's the medicine for samsara. If you are able to do Harinam, it's very simple to do. Even if you don't remember any other mantra, Harinam is easy to remember. For example, one manifestation of Harinam is the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's very popular today, right? So this is one manifestation of Harinam. There are other ways also people chant Harinam, but whatever way you chant, it's very easy to chant. It's very easy to follow, right? So if we do this every day, and this is to be done in a very disciplined manner, in a systematic way, just like we do anything else. And if it's done, then automatically the objective of all other dharma is fulfilled. Even if we don't do any other dharma, but we do this, it's understood that we have done all dharma that's required. Dharma is followed, it's upheld in that. So that's a concession given in the Kali Yuga. Actually, I wouldn't say that the Harinam is powerful only in Kali Yuga. It's not like that. The Harinam is the only thing that's possible for us. In any Yuga, the Harinam is the best dharma. Even if somebody is in Satya and he can do all other forms of dharma, even then, Harinam, which is the most basic element of bhakti, is very powerful because the Harinam is understood to be a form of Hari himself. Hari comes to us in that form. He enters our consciousness through our ears in that form. And he pervades us. He makes us aware about himself. So we connect with him. He's the universal consciousness, right? So we connect with that universal consciousness. Shall we stop for today? We are beyond the time. Om Swasti Prajapyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahishaha Gobhramanebhyo Shubhamastu Nityam Lokas Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Tad Vishno Paramam Padagum Sada Pashyanti Surayah Divi Vachakshuratatam Tad Vipraso Vipanyavo Jagruvagum Sassamindhate Vishno Yat Paramam Padam Paryaptya Anantarayaya Sarvastamoti Ratra Uttamamahar Bhavati Sarvasyaptyai Sarvasya Jityai Sarvameva Tena Apnoti Sarvam Jayati. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. That's it. Dhanyavadaha. Punarmilam.